Alright, so now we're moving on to number 4 in the worksheet, and remember you were supposed to have finished number 3 on your own first before you move on to the back of the worksheet, okay? So this is number 4. Cameron has a balance of $10,200 on his credit card. He threw the card away so he can never use it again, which is actually probably a really smart idea because $10,200 in credit card debt is not good. That's a lot of money to be in credit card debt. And if you remember, debt means that he owes money to the credit card company, because credit cards, also another aside, credit cards are a way of you being able to buy things with money that you technically don't have, but you're eventually supposed to have because you have to pay back the credit card company, which is why it's credit. But if you don't have money to pay that back, obviously you're going to end up like my friend Cameron over here with $10,200 in credit card debt, and that is not good. So him throwing away the card to never use it again was probably a very good idea. Okay, so he has 3.5 years to pay off the balance. The interest rate on his card is 21%. So at the end of the 3.5 years, how much money in interest alone will Cameron have paid? Okay, so again, same formula. We are multiplying the principal amount times the interest rate times the amount of time that the interest is being applied. Okay, so our principal amount is $10,200. Then we're going to multiply that by our interest. Our interest is 21%, but again, we're not going to write down 21%. It's going to be in decimal form. Okay, so try to figure out what the decimal form is of 21%. You should have gotten 0 and 21 hundredths, or just 0.21. That's fine too. You don't have to include the 0 there. Okay, so, and then you need to multiply it by the time. Now, if you notice, he has 3.5 years to pay. Okay, so we could technically leave this as a fraction, but the easiest way to multiply this, to do this problem, would be to turn this fraction into a decimal. Now, if you know your decimals and your fraction conversions, you should know that half should always equal, or 1/2 when it's in fraction form. In decimal form, it will equal, what do you think it is? It should be 0.5 or 5/10 or 50 hundredths, because if, just remember, what's half of a dollar? It is 50 cents. So, or if you forget, so we have 3, that's our whole, and then if you forget what the decimal form of 1/2 is, just divide it. 1 divided by 2. 1 will be inside the house. 2 will be outside. 2 goes into 1. You can't do it. It's a decimal. 2 goes into to 10 5 times. So it's 0.5. So we're going to be multiplying by 3.5 years. So 3.5. Okay, so that's the formula we're going to be working with now. So the first thing we need to do is multiply 10,200 times 0.21. So 10,200 times 0.21, or 21 hundredths. 0 times 1 is 0, 0 times 1 is 0, 2 times 1 is 2, 0 times 1 is 0, 1 times 1 is 1. Then we got to put our 0 as our placeholder, because we're moving on to the second part. 0 times 2 is 0, 0 times 2 is 0, 2 times 2 is 4, 0 times 2 is 0, and 2 times 1 is 2. Add them all up, and we get 214,200. But remember, we need to put our decimals, and this is something I'm noticing you guys are forgetting sometimes. If you're multiplying a decimal, you don't just stop there. We gotta check how many numbers are behind the decimal, or how many place values are behind the decimal. In this case, it's 2, so we gotta count off 2 to the left. So 1, 2, and so we gotta put our decimal there. So our rate, well, actually no, we're not done yet. 2,142. Now we got to multiply it by the amount of time, okay? So this is the amount of time that we're going to have. So it's going to be 2,000, I'm going to move it over this way, 2,142 times 3.5. 5 times 2 is 10. 4 times 5 is 20, plus 1 is 21. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 2 is 7. 5 times 2 is 10. Put the place value. 3 times 2 is 6. 4 times 3 is 12. 3 times 1 is 3, plus 1 is 4. We gotta carry the 1 from the 12. Okay, 2 times 3 is 6. Add them all up, and you should get 0, 7. 7 plus 2 is 9. 0 plus 4 is 4. 6 plus 1 is 7. Okay, and then remember, gotta count the decimal. How many numbers are behind the decimal? We have 1, so we just put 1 there. So at the end of 3.5 years, Cameron will have paid in interest alone $7,497.00. So that's how much money he would have paid in interest. Now, when Cameron finally pays off his credit card, which will be a wonderful day for Cameron, I'm sure, how much will he have paid in all? So how much money will he have paid in all with the interest? So remember, he owes the credit card company $10,200 already. Okay, now he needs to add the interest, which is $7,497. Okay, now we got to add it. 0 plus 7 is 7. 0 plus 9 is 9. 2 plus 4 is 6. 7 plus 0 is 7. And then carry down the 1. So we have, and then of course, remember, carry down the dollar sign, $17,697. Wow, which is a lot of money in comparison to $10,200. So life lesson for Cameron: if he had just paid off his credit card in time every single month at the bill payment, he wouldn't have to pay off that 21% interest over 3.5 years. Because look, he's having to pay $17,697. That's a lot of money for a credit card, okay? And that's why we need to know our simple interest, so that you know how much you're going to be paying if you don't pay off your credit card on time, okay? So there's things you need to know for life. This is not just because you want to pass a test, or you just need to know it from math, or just because you need to know it for this worksheet. No, you're learning this to use it in your life one day, okay? So now you need to move on to number 5, move on to number 6. I'll be stamping those off as you finish them off. If you have any questions, please raise your hand and I will answer them as best as I possibly can. And of course, I want you to try first, okay? If you're getting stuck, if you're not sure what to do next, look at your examples. Look at the notes that you already made. You already have some notes here. Look at anything here that might help you understand what to do next. If not, look back at the videos, because the videos are here to help you. It's not just for you to copy down the notes. It's for you to rewind it, look over it again, see what you might have missed. And then if you're still having some issues with that, go ahead and raise your hand and ask any questions you may have, and I will answer them to the best of my ability. So go ahead and move on to number 5, move on to number 6. After you're done with that, I'll be stamping those off, and then you can move on to the next activity.